Kamiganai, it starts off choosing Night on the Town. Monsterracer responds with Back to the Classics. Their bans go with Modern 4 of 8 out of Monsterracer, and Kamiganai bans Courtyard 4 of 7.
A little bit
So,
surprising to see the Courtyard band coming out from kamiganai, actually. I mean, kind of a newer player, and Courtyard tends to be one of those comfort picks, so
yeah, for
a
sure.
surprise.
It definitely feels like a lot like Courtyard is very comfortable for a lot of newer players. Especially, it's just a very high angle. You can see a lot of things, and it doesn't feel as overwhelming as something like maybe Veranda, right? Which is in the same set, of course, as Courtyard.
Yeah,
So
definitely two different sort of sides of that same coin in that same set, but apparently Kami feels comfortable with their camping, so I
yeah,
guess what happens.
and Modern 4 of 8 is an interesting bin as well, because in Night on the Town, I feel like most people are going to be banning either pub or terrace. Modern is one of those venues that you don't really see many bands of very often. It's not popular, but it's also not unpopular. It's kind of this in between. There's not going to be too many hate for it.
Well, now that we've switched over to the 4 of 8 variant, pretty much everywhere, I guess. Yeah, I would agree with you. The 5 of 8, of course, saw a lot more bans, with a lot more people just kind of being uncomfortable on it and not really wanting to do the sort of the pressure of trading sniper sides. But the 4 of 8 has felt pretty balanced to me, and it is a little bit of a surprise, especially with, as you say, those other sort of wonkier venues in here. But that's all right. Monster Racer clearly has a plan and just does not enjoy Modern, so we'll see what he has for us.
Yeah, all right. And I think with that, we can just get on into the first game, which will be Kamiganai on the Sniper and Monster Racer on the Spy on Aquarium playing General. You with me?
I'm with you. Go ahead.
All right, in three, two, one, playing it.
So Kamiganai is one of those players who's kind of newer to the competitive scene, and I mean this is his first competitive venue, or rather event. But he's also spent a lot of time. He's one of those sort of daily monsters who's just spent a lot of time replay sniping. So I think that's kind of shown in his results thus far, with sort of a surprising win over fellow replay sniper at Ada. I'm going to butcher it, so I won't go there. But yeah, it's interesting to see how good these new players are, especially on the sniper side, as Monster Racer steps into the bar here for a drink.
Yeah, I think the dailies have really, really influenced that quite a bit, and we'll see highlights for going to the bar here from Kamiganai. And one thing about Kamiganai is that they don't often talk on Discord. They don't talk on Discord too much, which is usually a really good indicator of kind of skill, like and engagement with the game, which can indicate skill. But I've always noticed that when they do, and when they're asking questions, they are asking very, very good questions. And something that shows a lot of understanding of the game and concepts. So I'm not surprised to see Kamiganai doing as well as they have been so far in this cup.
Yeah, I think that's a really good insight as well. Meanwhile, however, Monster Racer did the delegate cheese. Um, just delegating, but then walking away before he can take a drink, keeping his hands free, and if Kamiganai is not paying attention, potentially getting that delegate in pocket for free. Going to green bookshelf here and ripping the book out as well. So Monster Racer doing a little bit of cheese here off the start, but meanwhile we're down to 2 minutes and 20 with no mission progress. Here's the first flirt of the game, 45% with a sort of distant green flirt. So Monster Racer a little bit behind, but if he can convert the sort of cheesy plays that he's been doing here into mission progress, then he'll be in pretty good shape, I think.
Yeah, the main unfortunate thing for Monster Racer right now is that one, this delegate has expired. But looking at how this party has gone, I don't think that's actually unfortunate because if that delegate had gone off, Monster Racer still picked up the highlight for being at bar. The fact that he delegate cheesed away from it was kind of irrelevant to Kamiganai. Kamiganai just deciding to highlight everyone there and says, look, I don't care if you have a drink or not, you're still being credited with having this. And the fact that we're not being lowered on the suspicion list, no neutral light afterwards for not purloining, is a little bit concerning for Monster Racer. It can become a little bit easy to forget that, oh, I need to neutral light this person because it's been more than 60 seconds after they've been to bar. It's one of those things that can be very difficult. Monster Racer goes for a bug on the way past his ambassador, and The path was a little bit weird, but it was, a general bug inside of Taft's big body. So it has to be credited at best. So we'll see if Kamiganai is on top of that.
A little bit of shark cover as well. But even with that bug, Monsterracer is down under a minute with just the bug completed. There's the flirt to finish off that mission. We still have the book in hand, but we need to find a banana bread with the double agent currently out of conversation, and nobody knows exactly when they'll be coming back in to help us out here. And we need to slam this book back as well with 40 seconds left.
Oh.
But safety off on Irish behind the shark, and the shot comes off.
It looks like that might have been trying to preempt the potential for shark walking, like going for a swap clank behind the shark and just avoiding that outcome. Let's see, what have we got from did Irish ever go to any other statues? She did. She goes to bar. She gets a fingerprint. Was there a fingerprint over there? No, she actually did go. She actually gets. Wow. No, Irish deserved that shot. She got full fingerprints, full inspects, and even without the contact in this, if you're assuming she's going to be swapping behind shark and clanking and clanking and trying to shark walk there, that is 4 missions done if you're assuming flirt, and a lot of people do assume flirt. That is a completely understandable shot out of Kamiganai there, and I think that if Irish had been the spy, we would be praising that shot right now for how impressive it was. But unfortunately, it was an AI this time around, and Monsterracer maybe gets away with a game where they were in trouble. We did see Monsterracer going into the blue bookcase, trying to return this book to the wrong bookshelf, and probably going for a contact afterwards, which maybe you can get away with, but it would have been a little bit more dicey than just having the civ shot. So unfortunate for Kamiganai, but Monsterracer going up 1-0 on Aquarium.
Also worth noting as well, that was the wrong shot for sort of that cheese. As you can see, Irish's legs fully visible the entire time, and for her to actually have the time to shark walk there, she would have had to have come all the way out past the all the way out past the sort of the sofa in order to actually be fully covered. So Kamiganai had a little bit more time there, but then again, if you just think that Irish is finishing right there, then that's certainly a valid shot.
Yeah, and it really, really can easily feel like a finish. That was an incredibly active AI, and I'm not, criticizing Kamiganai for taking that shot at all. In fact, I would call it a good shot, even though it was wrong. Kamiganai now needs to find a win on the spy side to bring it back to even, not trying to not let Monsterracer break serve here. We're going to be seeing it on Kane. All right, in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Putting an AI control into the bookshelf here. We'll just finish off this drink since that's where the AI dumped us. And let's see if Kamiganai has any plans with this book here. I would expect this is going to be a book return since this was not really the plan coming into this. And we don't really have shark cover for any sort of book cheese. So, yep, Kamiganai just puts the book back. Ambassador's in kind of a buggable position, but the ambassador leaves and we'll just walk away.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed a lot over time when doing these casts and when watching competitive play is that newer players do tend to keep on AI control for a significantly longer time than more experienced players, usually until they reach the first pad, which can lead to maybe some wasted time early in the game where you could be getting flirt at these green bookshelves not doing anything. This ST is unfortunately too far away for us to get this flirt, so even though they joined us here at bar, sitting across the bar, and you can't exactly wink in SpyParty.
Nice play, though. Rejecting the drink and then moving over here to pick up another drink along with that flirt. And we get a low lit for it.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. Monsterracer definitely playing with a bit of a behavioral lean here in this game. We do see 3 low lights so far. Highlights for not necessarily having, not necessarily mission progress or threatening things. So, Kamiganai, this is something that a spy would absolutely do if you know that this is their ST, but it looks to Monsterracer in this moment that this is just kind of wasting time, and Kamiganai picks up the low light. The problem is, does Kami know? And I think that you have to say no. Kami has no idea that they're a low light right now.
Right. And then from the sniper side, the other question, of course, is just how fluid these lowlights are going to be. Uh, People point to sort of Lazy Bear as, and Pwn Noob, of course, as sort of the kings of behavioral lowlights, and their lowlights are incredibly fluid. They'll bring characters back up and down, back and forth. But for a lot of the behavioral snipers, the lowlights are going to be more firm. And this is going to be the question as to whether Monsterracer is just kind of low-lit and forgotten about these characters that have already been low-lit, or whether he'll still be watching them, especially as we go into statues here, gulping our drink. So if we're paying attention, then maybe we should be bringing Kane back up here as we're getting some more threat. But it doesn't look like that's going to be happening so far.
Yeah, and we did do a delegate to Pearls, who was a highlight and was holding a book. So we saw Pearls slam that book back in and head to bar. It does time out, so there will be no delegate coming off. But I'm wondering how that's going to affect Pearls' suspicion levels in Monsterracer's eyes, if he did notice that. We do pick up our second flirt white test, 68%. So our progress is not doing too hot. We have 55 seconds left on this clock. We're doing a fake contact here. Pearls is in prime position to get shot for this. She is in with the real DA, and she's sitting next to the ambassador. She was talking during that contact, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any kind of shot coming off here from Monsterracer, holding pretty hard here. And kamiganai is playing it too slowly. Obviously doesn't realize they're a low light. And where are we getting this fingerprint's not going to help us at all. We need one more even.
No, this is definitely a situation where, bug as we walk behind the ambassador, not seen it. Again, we're a low light. That was a pretty obvious bug, but not caught. But it doesn't matter. We're down to 10 seconds. And kamiganai running up to this front window to just try and throw a time ad in. And he has to. Here it comes. Okay, there's going to be time for this. It's a white test, and we immediately walk away. The timer goes up. Here comes the reactions from Monsterracer. Monsterracer throwing out one low light, and that's it. That's Monsterracer's only reaction from that time ad. But meanwhile, we're still so far behind the clock.
Yeah. We
now we're brought up to a highlight.
Yeah, there it is. We were nearby those windows, and Monsterracer does recognize that. And despite the fact that we did get this bug, there's just no time. We're not going to be able to get anything done. kamiganai just playing this a little bit too slowly. Even if you don't know you're a highlight, you have to do missions. Here comes another time ad and walks away immediately. I feel like this is about to get shot. Here it comes. The bullet, the safety off. It's a foregone conclusion at this point. Monsterracer takes the shot on a spy who is low lit for 80% of that game.
Wow. So really interesting play from both players. Credit to Monsterracer for sort of recovering from the early low light. Unfortunately, kamiganai just not really taking advantage of the situation. In fairness, though, really, really hard to recognize that you're low lit for that little maneuver at the beginning. So, fair enough on both counts. And Monsterracer goes up 2-0 here.
Yeah, that and this is kind of why I'm always personally a fan of just doing missions. Even like you don't necessarily have to be low lit to do missions. You just get putting pressure on the sniper and saying, if you don't catch me, I'm going to finish my missions. I'm going to win the game. And in this case, it would have been it was basically kamiganai's game to lose. Although obviously they didn't know that, so very, very hard to say how that plays out if we are a little bit more active going through that middle game. But now we are onto Veranda. Monsterracer on the spy side playing as Bling Twin. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, so Monsterracer has to be feeling pretty good here coming out of Aquarium with that lead. It's still early, of course, and kamiganai has plenty of time to make things up. And we do an early timeout here just at the front windows, right in the sniper's face. No real reaction from kamiganai, as I don't think the timeout was seen here in the time of chaos. So very good work from Monsterracer here as he goes into the bookshelf. He's going to pick up the briefcase, which is correct, by the way. Pick up that early fingerprint. So really good progress here from Monsterracer right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it is just the one fingerprint worth of progress, but the extra time on the clock is going to be very, very big. A green time ad in Time of Chaos early on. The main downside to one of these is if the sniper notices quick enough, they can low light people that were at mission sites early on, and they will know who was at those mission sites because that's what you're watching in Time of Chaos. You're trying to memorize statues or guarding the ambassador. So the guests that are around there can be low lit if the sniper notices early enough. However, that's still difficult to do because a lot of people are not checking for time ads this early. Again, you're checking those mission sites, right? So you're not really going to have that sense of, oh my gosh, there's been a time ad, unless you're specifically looking for it. So I'm not surprised that we haven't been punished for this at all, and the extra time's going to be very nice. Unfortunately, red test on this fingerprint that we tried to get off of green, so we do not finish the fingerprints quite yet.
Even so, though, I like Monsterracer's game plan here. It's been steady mission progress, and that's really the name of the game on these venues like Veranda or Library, is not letting the time, get the best of you and really just getting steady mission progress, whether that's an inspect here, a fingerprint there, flirts interspersed throughout. And so far, we're moving a little bit slowly, kind of taking advantage as the time ad has run out. But Monsterracer clearly trying to make progress here with this book in hand. I'd be shocked if it goes back into the correct bookshelf.
Yeah, I was actually really interested in maybe seeing Monsterracer do an animation microfilm at that side window there. It is surprisingly hard to see sometimes because just where the sniper's laser kind of rests, a lot of the time, the outside window on the right is completely off screen. And you're right, though, this is just a direct microfilm. It goes right back into red, slammed in there as kamiganai is rotating over to perhaps watch Toby and the ambassador. And so there's no notice, it would seem, of this microfilm, so it's a completely clean mission. We are going to be looking for perhaps a fingerprint off the blue bookcase here. Our SD and the double agent are in a completely full conversation, which is not exactly where you want that to be. Monsterracer shaking his camera a little bit frustrated about that.
Also, we missed the pad going there. We tried to squeeze ourselves. Oh no, that's the second time we get stuck on Toby. So we've missed the pad, or otherwise had to sort of stutter step twice around this conversation. It doesn't look like Kami has caught either of them though. And we're just gonna go to the blue bookshelf here. We missed the green fingerprint again. Monsterracer's just having nothing going right at this point in the game. But it's okay. This is fine. We're fine. We still have 1:45 left to go. We'll put the book back. We only have transfer microfilm done though, and only one flirt. Monsterracer has a lot of progress to pick up here. And really kind of has to get a move on. We've spent a lot of time trying to get this fingerprint done, and having missed 2 green tests, we're kind of in trouble here. We're behind the 8 ball despite all our early progress, and Monsterracer, green flirt from across the conversation circle. This is fine, but you got to leave here and go do something else right now.
Yeah, despite that early timeout, now you realize the really efficacy of this timeout. Without that, we would be at 30 seconds left on the clock with only 1 full mission done. We're trying to get a Purloin in. After all, Purloin is a very quick mission. We can just do it in 1, but it's a white test, which means we will be holding a drink. We will have Toby visibly without the list. We're going to go right into statues, try to gulp this. I don't think it's been seen yet. There's been a lot of activity and cover over there in that side of the venue, so I'm not super surprised that kamiganai has not seen this list gone, has not checked it for a while. We go for inspect, but these inspects, we still need to do 2 more. We still need to seduce. There's so many things we have to do. The double agent is not in conversation right now. It's just very, very hard to continue with the mission progress. Monsterracer shaking his camera as he walks by the double agent who goes into a bookshelf trying to return this red book. Like, how are you going to complete missions? Even though you got that Purloin off clean, you're still just too far behind the 8 ball. We can get a fingerprint off this statue here. If we can find a flirt with our ST.
Wee woo.
Yeah, it's a bug, but the shot comes off. And that is visible for kamiganai. And that feels like a game that was a little bit, it slipped out of Monsterracer's grasp. If we had flirt done already by this time in the game, we watch as the ambassador walks away from these statues, pretty late in this game. We just go straight to these statues with fingerprint, with inspect, and that is enough missions to complete, and with no contact being uttered. Yes, it's very suspicious to be chasing a fingerprint and a statue right at the end of the game, so you might get shot anyways, but it's your best option at that point, but it only works if you have your flirt done. And so just not being able to find that flirt progress, not being able to find the soft out progress that, despite the time ad, really hurt Monsterracer in that game. And kamiganai recovers it, does a very nice job of watching for people who could be finishing later in the game, and does manage to take back a win on the sniper side of Veranda.
Yeah, I like Monster Racer's sort of focus on getting fingerprints done there. I mean, fingerprints is a very strong mission in general, and a lot of newer snipers, especially, just have a lot of trouble tracking it, especially with those green fingerprints that we were trying to hit. Unfortunately, just couldn't get that done, and with all the time that we wasted trying to find those green fingerprints, just so much time burned off that we had to sort of rush there at the end. Like I said, I like the game plan. It's just, you know, you got to hit those difficult sometimes.
Yeah, the two missed difficulties definitely did not help Monster Racer's case. We'll see if kamiganai can prove a bit of a different story from the last two Spy games from both these players, where pacing has been a real issue. Playing as Pearls, though, the slowest character in the game. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So yeah, we talked about going for a chaos bug off the front, and
Wow.
with Pearl's slow speed, managed to hit it as we bounce off the ambassador at the exact right time. So Kamiganai with the chaos bug right off the bat, so much progress right there, and a green time at. Okay, all right, Kami. So Kami clearly having heard us from the future, not messing around here, picking up the early bug, getting that progress and the time ad, sort of putting a lie to any sort of time issues that he might potentially have here.
Yeah, for sure. That is really cool. Oh, I thought that was another time ad for a second. Nope, it's just normal watch tech, guys. Everything's fine. Oh, jeez. Yeah, so the bug came off surprisingly well in that early game. Usually walking past the ambassador, they're walking the other direction. It's not going to work. Oh my goodness, we've got another low light.
Well, Monster Racer clearly following the ethos that behavioral lights are camping with bad low lights on the spy, which fair enough. Um, but
This
last
might be
time
for time ad.
could be if it was noticed really really late. Let's see if he's able to recover like he did last time. Of course, with Kane being brought back up to a highlight at the end.
Oh, we've just ripped the
Kamiganai
book.
rips the book out. Okay, Kamiganai is doing stuff here, and I'm into it.
Yeah, the do stuff mentality is going to work, especially if we continue to have just low lights all over the place. This is going to be a bit of a catnip play here, I think. Fake BB into direct transfer. It's something that catnip is kind of known for liking to do quite a bit, but. No, it's just like a normal fake. We haven't gone dipped into green bookcase immediately, but I thought it was relevant since we are casting catnip versus lush moss next.
Spoilers, but yes. Kamiganai going to pick up a flirt here. It's green flirt from across the conversation circle. Um, very nice. And what? Okay, going for. We lose the race to the briefcase, the small man, and we're just gonna go dump this book right now. And I think it's gonna be clean. We're a low light. Why? Who be watching us?
Yeah, and that's what's so strong about some of these, some of like the, bug and microfilm, especially as a low light. You're just never going to have credit for having done these missions when, even if you get brought back up later. And that's what can make hardtails in particular so good, is that even if you're not on the light, right? You can often just get away with missions. You'll never be credited with it, and you're just so much less likely to be shot if you get away with it clean. That's why they have to be hardtails, right? They have to have some guarantee of this is the spy for the sniper to see them if they happen.
So Monsterracer in chat saying Phantom Swap,
That is
which
unfortunate.
yeah, and that explains the low lights, of course. A lot of suspects for a Phantom Swap, quite frankly. Just not being maybe fully aware of who's been to statues or not. So yeah, that is really unfortunate, and it happens to everybody. I mean, I've low light people for Phantom Swaps far too often, really. Um, all right, well, let's see how the rest of this game goes. I mean, again, like I said, we saw Monster Racer recover from a low light last time, and with the mission progress down, I mean, we're down to a minute 30. We have 3 missions done, but we still need a contact and then one other thing, whether it be a swap. There's the contact. Now we need one more mission. A Purloin is probably the quickest way, because going to 2 separate statues would be tough, or we can do like a swap frame.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything wins here. I don't think a swap is your best option. Obviously, it's another situation where, again, you don't know you're a low light. But even then, you're looking at your mission progress, and you've got a bug and you've got a microfilm. These are the two hardtails that don't leave any trace behind. So if you're ever going to be getting, the soft hells done, this is the time. You can go to, inspect some statues, and you're probably not going to get shot because that would require the sniper to be like, I think I missed both of these things because there's no purloin on the, there's no purloin at all. Well, there will be now, as we do a green purloin here. White test could have been in a bit of trouble. That's one of the things that can get you shot even as a low light. But kamiganai seems to be, I think we just requested on accident, then twitched to make sure we didn't get it, and Rahar gets shot anyways.
Okay. Bit of an unfortunate game for the Monsterracer there with the Phantom SWAT kind of just dictating how the rest of that game goes. But credit to kamiganai for really kind of taking advantage and getting missions done as well. And as you said, doing it under the radar with only the final mission being one that leaves any kind of trace whatsoever.
Yeah. And that'll be now 2-2. Kamiganai sweeping Veranda, bringing it back into a tie situation. We'll see if who can make a break for in the victory, or we could see a draw. Obviously, that is allowed in group stages of Winter Cup. But so far, it does seem to be a pretty close set as we step into Veranda Terrace. We were just on Veranda. And Monsterracer on the spy side, playing as Orange Sorry in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, so we're going to see a bit of a change here. We go from Aquarium, which is relatively campy, to Veranda, which is very campy, and then suddenly we're going to dump into Terrace, which is really one of the more behavioral venues in the game here on the 3 or 6 variant. Monsterracer is going in for a really respectful flirt, standing kind of far across the conversation circle and getting a green test for 33%. But this is kind of going to be a test of how really able to play both of these players are in sort of this different style. There's a fake banana bread coming off, and Terrace, of course, being venue with just the one double agent, which is known to the sniper. So fakes like this have a lot of value, and this is, like I said, this is really just adding even more difficulty to the sort of behavioral play and trying to track down who this spy is. Another flirt as the seduction target joins us again at a distance, so 54% now on the flirt, and that's about it. But time is really not so much an issue on Terrace.
Yeah, we did have a couple of people out for that contact. We only see a low light onto Irish, though. Kane was also out for it, kind of split on us while we were doing the white contact. So maybe a bit of a missed opportunity there, but was instead focused on highlighting for the real contact, it seems. I'm not super happy about this angle from kamiganai, allowing this front conversation to block view of the back conversation, especially when the ambassador's back there and in a potentially buggable scenario. You really want to be rotating over to the right, getting yourself a better view on that, but not being punished for it right about now just because the spy is not in that conversation, is still in the front conversation. It's just a little bit of this could end up causing issues if it were the spy, or if kamiganai realizes their mistake and thinks maybe I have to credit bug now.
Yep, and here we go with the ambassador stepping into that conversation. The laser swings over. Cowboy doing a briefcase return, arm completely blocked. Could have gotten a bug off there. And Cowboy already a highlight. Probably picked up a lot of suspicion for that little move right there already.
Yeah, here comes another contact, allowing a few more people to have real, but we will have one more low light in return. And I think Cowboy, if coming and got a good look, knows that Cowboy could not have taken a bug there. The arm that was closest to the ambassador that they couldn't see was indeed holding a briefcase. So, probably fine there, but we'll see. Cowboy could end up getting shot still, especially with the fingerprint progress.
Yeah, it seems like Monsterracer kind of leaning into a frame here with just the flirt done and with 50 seconds remaining. We're going to walk into the conversation. Oh, we're just going to bug on the way by. And taking advantage of the camera angle there, I think that bug was clean.
Yeah, the only thing that could have been really seen was this arm snapback right at the end, but it wasn't that bad because the snapback happened only, a split second after we stopped walking. right? Usually, if you stop walking while the animation's still going, you have a long time before the snapback, and it's very noticeable. But in this case, we didn't have that. A lot of people out for this contact, though. That might tip kamiganai off that something is going on, but it doesn't seem that they're willing to take a shot. Mission win countdown comes off, and Monsterracer gets away with a game with 3 contacts in it.
I mean, that was just all about the bug, right? With Kamiganai had to have felt confident with his mission count on Sorry, that Sorry couldn't be finished there, even with that real banana bread. Um, if you see the bug, she gets shot. If you don't see it, then this is only her second mission, and no need to take a shot there. So that's really just all about that bug angle and guarding that bug, I think.
Yeah, the main thing to me is that look at how awful this contact is in the last 15 seconds. Look at how terrible that is. That is everyone except for 3 people out. One of the people that are in would already have contact anyway, so they have 0 reason to take this contact. And look at this. Cowboy's even picking up this fingerprint. Cowboy's even picking up this fingerprint, which you would never want to do if you're the spy in this you wouldn't want to take this contact ever unless you're actually finishing missions. That's the kind of thing that can set alarm bells ringing in a sniper's head, like saying, why would they ever contact right now? Who's been around the ambassador? Sorry. It's a 1 out of 3 shot, and if you've got maybe bug suspicion, that is probably good enough at that point. But unfortunately, kamiganai seems to have thought that the bug was not happening, was pretty confident in that, and was wrong this time around. So the shot does not come off. Monsterracer taking down another win, and we are going into the second half of Terrace with kamiganai on the spy side playing as Queen. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so Kamiganai may be kicking himself a little bit for that last game, but we're going to step into the far conversation circle, idle here for a bit. The double agent joins us, but there's really a lot of stuff going on the rest of this party. Not a good time for Banana Bread, and Kamiganai is just going to hang out here and wait for things to settle down some.
Yeah, for sure. Some spies would want to go over and join their ST. They do have that opportunity, plenty of space next to them. Of course, that is something that snipers can look for, these early movement, especially between conversation circles, where an AI in a conversation circle, unlike any other pad in the game, is never obligated to leave at any point, right? Window pads, statue pads, bar pads, they're always at some point obligated to leave for some reason. Whether it's just like you can't stand there for that long, but an AI can stand in a conversation for forever if they want. Here comes real contact highlights from Monsterracer, and kamiganai does step in next to the ST this time.
Yeah, really good Banana Bread, though. There was nobody out of the conversation circle, so realistically that gave, and the conversations were about evenly filled there, so about half the party has real right now, half has fake. We're one of the real ones, but that makes us one of, 5 suspects? So this is a pretty good position for Kamiganai to be in, especially as we pick up that green flirt as well. If we can get another flirt off here real quick, we can just chase our selection target, get that mission done, and then have, a minute and a half left to find one more mission, which is really not a bad place to be in whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. And so one of the main things about 3 of X variants is that the sniper has a lot more control over seeing all of the mission progress that is possible for any given suspect. It's not overwhelming, it's not 21 guests, it's not veranda. You're not really going to be missing things as often, just outright, especially not things like fingerprint or statues. So it becomes a lot more about behavioral play, and is this person who is finishing actually the spy? And we do see a second green test flirt. My only concern is that we did follow Kane both times, so if Monsterracer is on top of that, that could seem very suspicious, even though we've only done it twice.
But the ambassador's been leaving prints all over the place. There's a print at bar, there's a print at statues, which Smallman is about to go smudge. Smallman taking a weird path into that statue, by the way, as well. But yeah, there are plenty of options to finish here, but Kamiganai is just letting them kind of slip away here. And we're going to have to figure out another way of finishing, with those fingerprints both being kind of smudged and otherwise taken away from no longer being available to us.
Interestingly, we did pick up a neutral light, which is a little bit unusual to see after someone has taken real contact lights. Real contact lights, usually you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be watching people who have this threat, who have this mission completed, but kamiganai picks up a neutral light, Smallman instead picking up a highlight. We are going to go into this statue, going for the difficult print, or the inspect, perhaps. I don't think we have the time for this. Irish has completely smudged the print at bar. We don't even try to go for this print. I just don't think we have the time. We can't get this. We can't even frame ourselves as being delegated to. We do just try to take the list, and it's gone now. We'll see if Monsterracer notices. The shot does not come off on us. It comes off onto Buns here. I think perhaps too much suspicion on Buns, and when the overtime came off, Monsterracer did not look at bar. That is not where Monsterracer was looking, because, Queen could not have been delegated by anybody. So I think the low amount of suspicion we had for Monsterracer, plus the fact that we had actually been to statues and could not have been delegated, helped us out, which is unusual because usually doing this purloin late in the game when you have come from statues means it could only be you, right? But because of that low suspicion and because we couldn't have been delegated, we were not looked at all, and someone else gets shot during overtime.
Yeah, kind of surprising there, really. I'm not sure what the level of suspicion there on Boots was. Clearly, that was just a suspected flirt finish, but maybe there was a suspected bug at some point? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, certainly something like that is quite possible. You never know exactly what's going on in the sniper's head, but that does mean we are going to be stepping into library, still tied up at 3-3, with Monsterracer trying to prove something on the spy side, playing as Kane once again in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, so we saw Monsterracer having some timing issues on Veranda. So, Library, obviously, similar in many ways as far as being a sort of a larger venue where steady mission progress is necessary to get the 5 missions done. We're going to step in here, pick up the green flirt right off the bat here at the windows, and that's a pretty good start. We're going to walk away, the ambassador's right here, and we're just going to take the bug. It's visible, the arm's sticking out very visible, and we just get shot for it, right off the bat.
Yeah, we don't get away with that at all. So for one, this bug is triggered far too late to even land. It's triggered when we're already, well into the ambassador's range, which means that there's more time for the animation to be seen when we're past him, and it doesn't even stick. Insult to injury there. Monsterracer gets taken down. kamiganai able to spot that bug. Really quick game there out of with a very nice bug catch from kamiganai. And so
I like the thought, though. I like the thought of taking the bugs that are made available to you. kamiganai guarding bug very effectively there, of course, but Monsterracer taking advantage of the positioning of the ambassador. I like the thought, if maybe not so much the execution.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you trigger that bug a little bit earlier, like you can trigger this bug here, right? And you can't really see this sped, but you can trigger this bug here, and the animation is going to be a lot less visible. You're gonna actually land the bug, and maybe you get credited, but it's still something that you're still gonna have some kind of play left in the spy game. You're still gonna have bug under your belt. So unfortunate for Monsterracer. Very nice catch from kamiganai. We're going to be going on to the next game of Library and see if kamiganai can break away in a lead here on the spy side of Library. Playing as Wheels in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so on his part, kamiganai showed us a lot on the last Veranda game with that early time ad into really quick mission progress, obviously being helped by being a low light there, and we're helped here as well by our selection target joining us at the window pad. It's only at 21%, but it's flirt progress, and we'll take that right off the bat for sure. No time ad coming off, though. We're going to go into the bookshelf instead. kamiganai had ripped out a book before and done a microfilm on Veranda. We're not ripping this one out, though. Instead, we're sitting here, and we're going to do a microfilm. The action test, we walk away as we hit the white instead. Not going to get the mission complete, but not going to get shot for it either.
Yeah, maybe maybe evaluating that the white test as Wheels here would be deadly. But I think that kamiganai would have gotten away with that. Monsterracer was on the sides of the venue watching people at statues, watching the ambassador, so didn't really have eyes on the center of the venue, and that's what can make that green bookcase surprisingly strong. Usually you'll see action test microfilms happening at side bookshelves when a lot of the party, like the ambassador and Toby, are on the opposite side of the venue. So so the idea of the green bookcase being safe is not really popular, but really can be, because a lot of the time there's not really much reason to be looking at the center of the venue like that. So instead, Kamiganai stepping back into green bookcase. No, we're gonna be walking past it. I think we broke animation a little bit there, and it was kind of in the center of Monsterracer's screen.
I think it's fine though. Monsters are clearly doing again these sort of behavioral highlights for suspicion, and we didn't pick one up, so I think we're okay. We're gonna go back into the green bookshelf though and just return this. Not before we do a microfilm. Oh, it's visible. It was visible on screen, the action test, but it's fine. Monster Racer does not see. I think we've gotten away with this just fine. We'll put the book back, and this is fine. But again, time is our enemy. We're down to 2:45. All we have is the one microfilm in pocket, and most of our flirt, in fairness. But if we can't get a green test on our next flirt, we're still not gonna be done with that either. And time can be very unforgiving here on Library.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of the time, especially on Library, especially when you see if that something's on screen, but then the sniper like moves away very imminently afterwards. A lot of the time, what they're doing is they're actually preparing to see things on the other side of the venue, so they're not really looking anymore at what's on their screen. They're preparing. Their eyes are like looking at the left of their screen or the right of their screen to prepare moving their camera all the way over. Here comes another white test. It is on screen. The little head turn is visible, and we pick up the highlight for it. So Monsterracer appears to have caught this one.
I don't think we were necessarily caught, but I think it's been noticed that we've been at two bookshelves in pretty close succession. So there's definitely maybe being credited here for the microfilm done, even if it wasn't seen. But again, time is a problem. We have microfilm done, which is great. Flirt is done, which is fine. We're down to 1:30 now. We have to find a banana bread and 2 more missions, and that's going to be tough. If we go to center statues here at the end, we're going to get shot, right? So we have to find 2 missions that have low suspicion, whether it be a bug, something else, I don't know. But Kamiganai, I think, is in serious trouble here.
Yeah, with only 2 missions done, minute 15 on the clock, you're right. And especially as a highlight, which appears to have been credited with microfilm, if not caught, it's just going to be so difficult. And this is going to be a white purloin. I think this has to be death here. Look at that slow fade, very beautifully visible for Monsterracer, and the bullet follows. The list is in their pocket, but so is the bullet. I don't think we've got any speeches saving people's life from bullets this time around. This is a
no, unfortunately.
This is a dumb reference.
Wow. Okay. All right. If that's what we're doing.
Monsterracer.
Let's just go to pub.
Let's just go to pub. Oh god. Monsterracer as buns on pub 4 of 7. 4 of 7, mind. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. So we haven't seen pub 4 of 7 in a little while in competitive play.
Well, I mean, this is entirely your doing. So tell us. So what was the reason for putting the 4 of 7 sort of back on the menu, as it were?
Well, I needed more venues. That's the main reason. With 4 sets of
Which, fair enough.
4 sets of 4 venues comes out to the surprising number of 16, and SpyParty doesn't have 16 venues, as you might notice. So.
Well, as you well know, I don't know how to count, so I'll have to take your word for it. Meanwhile, we red test our seduction target. I'm assuming that was not intentional, but if it is, Monsterracer might have some tricky plays here in mind. But meanwhile, 3 minutes left, no mission progress. Let's see if we chase our selection target somewhere else and try and get that mission completed.
Yeah, red testing on 3 of X venues can be very, very useful. Try to just bounce your ST around, make them get mission progress, but it's also not 3 of X because it's 4 of 7. We just mentioned this. So probably not on purpose, and we do see a correct flirt this time. White test. We go for the bug as the ambassador walks on in. It's a very, very nice bug covered by the ambassador's big bony body. It is Taft after all, and we get that bug what appears to be pretty clean.
Yeah, I was watching from sniper view. it was pretty much invisible. So really, the only way to see that, if you had from the sniper's angle, the only way to see that is just to credit it. We're going to step in here as well, pick up the flirt and walk away as our selection target picks up the statue. I'm liking Monsterracer's play here. These are some tricky sort of spy plays and really taking advantage of what the party's giving you, especially with the ambassador coming to us right there. We're going to go join our double agent in the outside conversation circle right outside the door. And this is really not a bad banana bread, actually. There'll be a couple lowlights, but realistically, this is a pretty good spot to be in. Yeah, we're just going to take it. It's a white test. There's only going to be one lowlight available. Not bad at all. And really, being alone with the double agent here looks pretty unsuspicious, all things considered.
And Pub 4 of 7 plays a lot like Courtyard because of those single visit inspects. You get that bug done, you're going to get contact, seduce, and once you finish up that statue inspect, if you haven't been credited with a bug at all, it's going to be very, very difficult for anybody to shoot you, just because of how low suspicion statues can be on this kind of venue, and how often AIs can just go to them and complete them in one go. So we only need one more flirt here for the victory. It does seem like Monsterracer is coasting in, but we are actually going next to someone who is not our ST, which... it could be good, could be bad. The question is...
I mean, I think this is probably fine. Just waiting for Pearls to land somewhere where we can pick up that flirt. But no, we're going to go to the bar and kill a little bit more time as Pearls is kind of hanging out the window here, taking a sip. Unfortunately, she's going to go into statues again, which means that we can't really chase her like that. And a little camera shake from Monsterracer is showing his displeasure with what's going on here. Again, still plenty of time. This is probably fine. We'll sip at the bar, waste a little bit more time, but we're going to have to move somewhere and really just wait for Pearls to land somewhere so we can just get that last flirt. And it's only 16% needed as well, so we can do it from anywhere. It's just a matter of finding some place where she can settle down and we can just slide in next to her.
Yeah, we don't want to commit to any conversations right now, so we do wait for that. But we do see Pearls going out to a guaranteed conversation circle. We know she's going to be going to one of those because there's no other paths out there. We sit down next to her. The question is, can kamiganai take a shot for just one talk? It's going to be a pretty quick talk, but it's still going to be a talk nonetheless. I think this game...
No overtime either.
Yeah, I think this game is locked up from Monsterracer. No shot coming off from kamiganai, and we do see a spy win on Pub 4 of 7 from Monsterracer.
As is often the case, the story of the game is the unseen bug.
Yes, indeed. The unseen bug.
The unseen bug is the deadliest.
Sounds like a movie title. The Unseen Bug.
All right. Well, I want royalties when you end up writing the script. And meanwhile, kamiganai is going to be queen here in this next game, trying to even things up.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
This has been a really good set, by the way. Both these players showing us a lot and really just kind of bouncing back and forth. I think they've split every single venue to this. Or none. They each took one venue at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's been very, very even with swings back and forth. Both players taking leads and then kind of giving it up. So, yeah, this has been a really enjoyable set thus far. And really, it can belong to any player. Neither have even clinched a tie yet. Kamiganai is going to be out here with the green flirt. Really good green test from Kamiganai as well, by the way, so far this set. Picking up that early green flirt for 51%.
Yeah, for sure. Green test rate on those flirts can be really, really critical. We even saw in this very set where Monsterracer was having trouble with flirt progress on Veranda, and when you get those green tests, it can just free up your pacing so much. Of course, you still need to get one more, but we'll see. Kamiganai is staying a little bit chill. Now is finally going to leave this conversation a little while after their ST leaves.
Yeah, Double Agent kind of teased us there by coming over, but just to pick up the briefcase and not sticking around. And unfortunately, this conversation circle was full with our selection target, but Small Man walked away. I assume we're going to tuck ourselves in, but no, actually, we're going to go inside instead. The Ambassador is in a buggable position if we choose to take advantage of it, but it looks like it's being pretty much watched. And we're just going to hang out here, maybe hoping for a reverse drive-by as the Ambassador paths away. I'm not really sure what kamiganai has in mind here, but this is a dangerous spot to do it, and we're going to think better of it. Not going to take the bug on the way past as it's being zoomed in on. We're just going to pick up the inspect here instead.
Yeah. I'm also a little bit surprised we didn't go for the flirt. We did have the flirt cooldown done. We could have shuffled in right next to our ST, but instead we are getting other mission progress. Of course, this is a very typical type of spy game, getting that inspect, getting that contact, and flirt. Asking much the same question as we always do on Courtyard, what's the last mission? But again, it's different from Courtyard in that we have, Purloin is a different mission entirely. We have different types of cover. There's just a lot to be said for the different landscape of the venue overall. But the spy plan does tend to be fairly similar. Stepping in, probably maybe trying to hope for this last green flirt, if this is close enough.
I don't think it is. We kind of are across the conversation circle, even though there was a spot next to Twin. Yeah, it's 95% with that green flirt. Very respectful from kamiganai, kind of respecting Monsterracer's potential flirt pairing ability here. But unfortunately, that's costing them, as we're down to a minute. And the story, as always, with so many players, not just these two, is the time's ticking away. Down under a minute, we need one more flirt and then 2 more missions. I think the delegate timer is going to expire as well. I think it's been too much time on that. So we're going to have to find some more progress here pretty quickly. And we need to finish this flirt as well. We're going to squeeze into this conversation circle, finish up the flirt. But the double agent bails, so we're not even going to get that mission progress either.
Yeah, there goes the expire on the delegate, so we don't have that option anymore. We finish up our flirt, we stop talking, we take a sip, which is actually... oh, wow, that bug! What? That landed?
Really nice.
That landed. I'm shocked that actually landed. The path was a little bit questionable, but the bug was absolutely invisible from Monsterracer's angle. He's going to have to be hard crediting that. It's going to be the contact, but it's only going to be 3 people in for real. The SDA is out here. Here comes the contact. Can Monsterracer take the shot? We stop talk, which could induce a shot even faster, but kamiganai very likely coming away with a spy victory. Shot comes off. No. Shot comes off. It would have come off onto General, but it doesn't happen. The safety off was not on us, so kamiganai is going to win that game either way, but it's going to be going into the books as a spy completes missions victory.
Wow, that bug was incredible. I mean, that was a high-level bug in general, the sort of double walking bug as the ambassador kind of passes our conversation circle. As you said, kind of amazed that it landed as we had some sort of ugly bouncing there. But kind of just like with the Pearls bug on Veranda, we just get the bounce at the exact right time to make the bug land. And again, as we've been saying, the story of this game is the unseen bug.
Yeah.
It is the deadliest. And without seeing that 4th mission, that hardtail, how do you take that shot?
And what's incredible, like, look at this, look at where this bug is when it takes. You're going through someone. You can go through someone with standing bugs, but walking bugs are so much smaller range. I was just so surprised. This must be on the very, very edge of it. I thought this would miss for sure. I liked the idea, but the bouncing I thought would kill it. But no, it takes, and kamiganai finds the mission win. The main issue here, actually, after the bug, is that we keep walking kind of alongside the ambassador here for perhaps long enough that Monsterracer can maybe credit this bug, but it's very difficult to do so. And wow, just a really impressive play out of kamiganai there to keep it even. It is 5-5 now, and we're stepping into ballroom.
Where true SpyParty champions are chosen.
Absolutely. You understand me perfectly, Sped. Monsterracer on the spy side as Kane. Let us begin. The best venue, saved for last, in crunch time. This will decide the entire set. Can someone take a 2-0 sweep over ballroom to win the set, or will it be a draw? Let's find out in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We've seen a lot of Kane play out of Monsterracer. I want to say this is like the 3rd game where he's played Kane.
Yes, this is the 3rd game that Monsterracer has played Kane. You are correct.
Okay, so I lied when I said I couldn't count earlier. But we are going to pick up the first flirt here, 34%, which is always a nice start here. And just an early white purloin. Okay. The kamiganai not paying attention to the list, and I don't think it's been seen yet. Nope, the laser flicking away. No, here comes the lowlights. Okay, we're in trouble. This is a bad place to be in if we're Monsterracer.
Yeah, lowlights were for the contact, the fake contact that we did to throw suspicion off the list. So I don't think we've gotten suspicion for that. But look at this, 5 lowlights in a party where there are only 12 suspects total. There are 15 guests, 1 ambassador, and 2 double agents. That is almost half the eligible party for suspects. So you getting the purloin done but you're also not even getting the contact done, and you probably want to do contact in this game, which is going to most likely knock out even more suspects. It's just going to narrow the party quite a bit, so we're not home free despite the relatively clean purloin.
I'm not sure if the purloin's been seen yet, to be honest. If, as you say, these lowlights are for the banana bread, um, like I haven't seen kamiganai zooming in on the list yet. I want to say I hope it's been noticed at this point, but it could just be that kamiganai is completely lost, is just relying on the banana bread lowlights. And if that's the play, that's not a bad place to be in, especially this early. There's still plenty of room to find a spy potentially taking 3 other missions. But it's hard to tell exactly where we are, to be honest, as Monsterracer, whether we're in serious trouble or actually whether we're in pretty good shape. We'll pick up the drink fingerprint as well here, with pretty good mission progress going on down into a minute 30.
Yeah, absolutely. We could finish this up very easily with finishing Flirt, and she almost comes right to us there. But we are going to find probably another contact here, this time for real. We're going to go for a final fingerprint and our final Flirt, and that's a very subtle way to finish off this game here. Here comes the next contact. It's going to knock 2 more people out of this party, so we are down to just 5 suspects, it looks like. But when you're in a party with 5 suspects, if you're not a big suspect, you're picking up this last fingerprint. We do pick up the highlight for it, but we still need to be shot for just the Flirt at this point.
And it's going to be, all we need is a white Flirt too. We can just tuck ourselves in next to Alice here, which we're going to do. Pick up the Flirt with 50 seconds remaining. This is such a difficult shot to take if you're not sure of that purloin. And this is going to be a huge test for Kami, as the Flirt will come off momentarily, I'm sure.
Yeah,
here it comes.
Flirt.
It's a white test. Here's a talk. The shot needs to come off now. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think Monsterracer has gotten away with this game.
Yeah, very impressive route to finishing, playing it very low-key. After the purloin, we don't go to statues because that is something that can get you shot very easily. We go for a nice subtle drink print. We pick up the highlight after the real contact, and we find our seduce in a pretty low suspicion manner. And we win with 30 seconds left on the clock. Monsterracer has secured, at minimum, a draw.
Yeah, and this is going to be, for new players especially, this sort of crunch time, clutch situation, it can be really, really tough. Nerves can be really, really telling here. And this is going to be a big test for kamiganai.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be. All right. We do have kamiganai in the final game, trying to make this a draw with Monsterracer. If they can do this, they're in a pretty good spot to get out of their groups, I think, after defeating Adafayesh last week. Is that correct?
Yeah. In week 1, kamiganai, kind of a surprising win over Adafayesh, whereas Monsterracer had tied Simo, who was probably the odds-on favorite to make it out of this group in first place. So both these players really set up well. A tie here, I think, would be good for both players. A win, obviously, for Monsterracer would, I think, probably more or less guarantee a passage out of this group.
Yeah, that would be really big for kamiganai. On the other hand, if you don't win this spy game, you're a little bit more against the wall. You probably need to find a win next week. Or, a draw could also do it. We have seen people get out of groups with a win, draw, loss, but it's a little bit dicey in that scenario. So kamiganai really wants this spy game under control. We're going to see if they can take it. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep, as usual, letting the AI control it. But no, we're going to take control instead and walk away as our seduction target sort of bounces away, giving us a little bit of a tease. And the ambassador joins us right next to us, so we're not going to take this bug. And I think that's the right call. We've seen some aggressive bugging out of kamiganai thus far, but that would have been difficult, and discretion is probably the better part of valor on this one.
Yeah, for sure. Monsterracer. On the other hand, we're talking about ways to get out of this group. Monsterracer did draw with Simo last week, so another draw here would mean decent odds at getting out if you can win your last match, but it's still a little bit dicey. A win here would be a very big sigh of relief, but we do have the early contact. Only one low light for this.
Monsterracer just flashing down to a low light that brings us back up to neutral immediately. Continuing the streak of low lighting the spy even momentarily, which I like to see. My behavioral bones are enjoy that. We're gonna hang out here as the selection target joins us. It's a white test from across the conversation circle for 24%, unfortunately. But that's fine. Not going to take the checker purloin here as Toby offers us. We'll just reject the drink. Um, but we're kind of just staying here. This is not a good spot to be timer flirting, I don't think.
Excuse me. And yeah, this is always a question. Jesus.
All right. Why don't you get that out of your system? We'll go into the green bookshelf instead. I would be surprised to see any sort of play here. We have Toby here and the ambassador here. This is a tough spot to go to a bookshelf and not be noticed. So we'll just take this book, kill some time. I would expect that we're just going to put it back innocently, maybe hoping to lose some suspicion or just kill some time as our selection target is drinking and is probably going to walk away momentarily as well. But she is not going to cooperate, and we're going to have to leave first. So let's see where she lands. We're instead just going to walk across the venue, bouncing off Small Man, and into the empty conversation circle to again idle here. But unfortunately, this idling is getting the better of us. We're down under a minute 30 now. All we have is the 124% flirt and the banana bread at the very beginning. Another very respectful flirt, too, from across the conversation circle. Kamiganai has to get more progress here, and I don't think these far flirts are the way to do it.
Yeah, I think it's really always a question, player to player, on what you do when your back is up against the wall. Do you just try to push back against that wall and really do a lot of things and force the sniper to say, hey, I'm going to get you, or, I'm going to come back in this? Or do you slow down? Do you take a more risk-averse stance? And it appears that kamiganai is taking a bit of a more risk-averse stance. It's going to be a difficult briefcase fingerprint. It's not going to happen. We're going to set it back down, and now we are in big trouble. Unless Monsterracer finds reason to shoot an AI, and, we're actually making that less likely by going to center statues ourselves, it just doesn't seem like kamiganai's going to get away with this.
No, I mean, you can get missions done pretty quickly here on Ballroom, absolutely. But down under 20 seconds, that means we're going to have to find basically a bug and a green flirt to even finish. And we're just going to shot for it instead. Monsterracer is going to secure the set with the shot at the end, taking the set 7-5 in the very final game here on Ballroom.
Yeah, and that shot is definitely a timing shot. I think a lot of players are a bit prone to these. They think, maybe I don't have perfect information over this party. This feels like a spy trying to finish missions. And that is exactly the reason why going to center statues late in these kind of scenarios reduces the odds of an AI getting shot. Because suddenly you are competing for suspicion and shot threat with other AI. So even if someone else does something very suspicious that the sniper might shoot for, you're also doing something, and it's weird because you'd think that these kind of things are separate, right? You're evaluating characters separately, but it's all, for a lot of players, it's all about relative suspicion, and Monsterracer thinks this is just too much. I've got to take the shot now, and the shot is indeed correct.